The interesting thing is the numbers don't lie. I mean, Louisiana no longer has, Canada geese migrate to Louisiana. It's a fact. They were short stopped. Dick Yancey and countless waterfowl managers before documented it and called it what it was. It was short stopping. It was people using agricultural products to stop migratory waterfowl from coming south and to hold them there for their self interest and for the purpose of hunting them. They did it.
You, dude, you're right. But what is key about what Mark showed us all with the Canada Goose that we can tie to people who actually cared about finding out where these birds were. And we talked about it during the last segment. They wanted to know where their birds were. They went and looked for them. They found them. All this is well documented. Well, since 2000, just like the person that you spoke to, he was like, oh, well, we really don't have any studies to see if this really happened with the ducks. Everyone has ignored this with the ducks for some reason, but yet Mark is one of the only ones who ran the data and shows a correlation, and it's actually the mallard. And it's unbelievable. So note that from 1955 to 2000, the midwinter mallard surveys in Louisiana are reflective of the North American mallard breeding populations as provided by United States Fish and Wildlife Service. However, from 2000 to present, the mallard migration to Louisiana has been reduced at a rapid rate, as the present mallard migration has been reduced by 95% in just 20 years. During this time, the North American mallard population showed a strong increase from 2005 to 2017, before showing a sharp decline only during very recent years. The same startling trend that was observed for the Canada geese during the 1960s and 70s, as Louisiana lost 100% of thesis migration after the baiting on federal refuges in Missouri. So he correlates all this to the exact years that we all saw the change that we now know laws changed allowing it. And everyone still will argue with him and tell him, "Oh, you're not correct. You ran the data wrong. You don't know what you're doing." And this
But
man
here,
is a professional.
but here's the thing. So we're telling folks these stories about this stuff, and why is it that mainstream waterfowl management has not been telling the history of this? Why have they not been telling it? And Jeff Craig says, a good comment. He says, Duke, they were short stopped after they were forced to the coast by wetland drainage. They never, well, hang on.
Yeah.
They never would have been on the coast had they had habitat between Canada and Louisiana. Well, I mean, Jeff, were they cutting down all of those timbered swamps all over Missouri? Were Canada's just thick all in that crap? Or are you saying that they drained all the flooded cornfields up there at some point? They were shut it down, and then y'all just finally got back to planting flooded, unharvested agricultural crops like y'all have always done. I can see the Indians out there planting, corn now and with buckets throwing it over a little small beaver dam to get flooded corn. What were they using? Slingshots?
And I want to take a second to point out to Jeff Craig that the comment that he made earlier on Facebook, that he says, well, anyone that corrects them or disagrees is obviously trolling. That's how they will censor comments. Does it look like we're censoring anybody's comments to y'all? But I digress. Go ahead, dude.
No.
Jeff Craig, the graph on the right is 100% fake. So are all of the numbers in the Mississippi Flyway data book, is that fake? That's what you're saying? Josh, I got a question, and this was a prompt. Why can't we just do a resident mallard program here in Louisiana? Why don't we do that?
You know, that's very interesting. It was always said that we couldn't do a resident mallard program here in Louisiana due to the mottle duck, but I actually found some stuff this week that says otherwise. But yet, Stephen Canick reached out to me one time. This was probably about 5 years ago. And then he's reached out to me since then, and he knows he's got a place in Grand Chenier. And prime habitat used to be unbelievable. I've hunted in that area, and it's right there by Rockefeller. Literally, you can hear the shots off of Steve's place probably on Rockefeller. So he called me, and he's a part of alligator programs and everything else down there. And he said, listen, there's a lot of old research stations and incubators and stuff down in this area that's no longer being used. Why? And the state owns it. Why don't the state utilize them and start creating our own ducks? Whether it be I don't even know if there was any way that we do a model duck one, but apparently there was, because they did a lot of it back in these documents that we're about to talk about. But what was so interesting
So,
to me in
so,
these documents
so,
was,
so again, Yancey was seeing this. He was seeing the freight train coming even back then.
yeah, and it's crazy. So in these documents, it actually points out that Richard K. Yancey was doing model duck releasing. He was doing yellow-billed pintail, Brazilian teal, and mallard hens. And I
Wait a
thought that we
minute.
couldn't release mallard.
In Louisiana, you're telling me that the Louisiana waterfowl guy was releasing all of these different species in Louisiana to try to build a flock of birds for waterfowl hunters in the future because he saw a freight train coming down the tracks.
He saw what happened with the Canada goose, and he was scared that if they ever changed management practices, they were going to steal the ducks from heading south. And this magazine blew my mind. It actually had the pictures of the first flocks of Canada geese at Rockefeller.
What I find amazing here, and so I want to ask everybody watching, and especially you people that are not from Louisiana that are going to educate us. Um, I want y'all to tell us about the black belly whistling fulvous tree dug, whatever squealer, whatever you want to call them. How the hell did we get squealers here? You know, I mean, what do you understand in the comments, everybody, right now, in the comments? What is your understanding of why we have squealers here? Why is that? I mean, Rex, do you know? Josh, I can't ask you. Rex, do you know why we have not squealers, not wood ducks? I'm talking
Right.
about tree ducks. Do you know why we have tree ducks here? You know the difference.
Yeah, but I have no idea.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
I know what I was told, Duke. What was you told? And we'll see if it lines up, because I was told this at quite a few different meetings whenever we were talking about ducks not coming to Louisiana no more. Well, one of the main things that they'd always point out was, hey, we have the fulvous tree ducks here now, and we have squealers here now, and we know why, and we can tell you. So
John,
Duke, you say it.
John David Lyles told me to look in a Maine document. The answer will be there in Maine. Well, look, I I've always been told that it was climate change, global warming, because the magnetic field of the Earth and the oceans are rising, and Al Gore created the internet, that they were their range from South America or whatever was now up into the continental United States. That's what I understood. Something to that effect. Is that what you were told? Something along them lines?
Yeah, 100%. Climate change, those birds have now moved their breeding area into Louisiana and it's steadily moving north because the climate has changed, which I understand. Weather goes in cycles. Like, fully understand that. I understand climate has changed some, but what they were saying does not line up with what this document said, and I didn't know any of this until I read this week, and it blew my mind, dude. I can't read it; it's blurry on my screen, but maybe you can read it about the fulvous tree duck.
This type of release is now being employed with the fulvous tree duck here on Rockefeller Refuge and has proven very successful. A small non-migratory population of tree ducks has been established here on Grand Chenier area. And he goes on to talking about it a little bit more. But the point was they brought them in and they released them. That was Grand Chenier, and that's where it started.
So,
I
so their population got brought in. It was actually successful, kind of like some of the birds that Phil Robertson did with the mallards. It was successful, yet they kill Phil Robertson's birds, and no one ever hears about this. Then the birds that Yancey was successful with, yeah, you can kill them during season, but during the time period that they're actually here the most, you couldn't hunt them. So now steps are being taken by Governor Landry, and I don't know, where is that at, Duke?
look, somebody fair statement when somebody says, I mean, look, when I speak and I'm speaking generally about those birds, I'm just talking loosely. I mean, I recognize there's a difference, but to me, I don't really draw a big differentiation between them. So take me with a grain of salt on that. I don't shoot them anyway. I'm not going to, but
Yeah,
I'm all in favor of everybody else killing the hell out of them. I mean, that was why Yancey did what he did. So,
yeah.
Landry, you know, as of August 19th, 2024, he had Secretary Madison Sheehan and Rex. You and I interviewed Secretary Sheehan on this, show here. I don't remember how long ago it was, but when she first got the appointment, and we addressed the fact there were people that had questions about whether or not she should be or shouldn't be. I mean, valid questions. Um, but as you can see here, they made a request to, get the government to allow there to be a seizing. I honestly don't know the outcome or what have you, but this is a long time coming. And this was ultimately as a result of Yancey. And it was a result of Yancey seeing what was going to happen up the flyway, and I would go ahead and say seeing what was happening to waterfowl management. I mean, he saw it.
Yeah, and just as a reminder, you're right, Duke. I think it was almost a year ago when we interviewed Madison Sheehan. I think it was show number 13 because that actually popped up in the Facebook memories today, of all things.
Yeah, and to this point, what is interesting, I'll share a personal note. And I have the emails from quite a few years ago. I mean, they would have been over 20 years ago. Um, I was emailing the state waterfowl coordinator regarding these waterfowl and trying to get us a season to shoot these birds back then. And the waterfowl coordinator at that time, he was rebuffing me and pushing me off, and actually, and I would have to go back and find it, but I'm pretty sure that I have an email where he was denying the reports I was giving of the quantity of these birds scattered around Northwest Louisiana. I mean, because they were everywhere, and now there's. I mean, I would contend there's more of an established population of those than any other species of waterfowl here now.
Now,
So,
what's crazy about them is just like you said earlier, that the whole reasoning behind us not being able to shoot them, the waterfowl study leader swore that everyone was gonna mistake them for a mottled duck. And if
yeah,
you've ever hunted or been to marsh in Louisiana or rice fields or anything, if you can't tell the difference between a mottled duck and a fulvus or a blackbelly, you don't need to be hunting. Like seriously,
now
I
look,
think that
look, Josh, you're getting carried away here. Now we are trying to be an informative show, and we're trying to help our fellow waterfowl hunters out here. So, we can't just assume that people don't know the difference between a mottled duck and a whistling duck or tree duck or black-bellied duck or squealer, whatever you want to call every species of crazy, wild, kooky duck, whatever y'all want. All of that. All play the video, Rex.
Okay, here
Let's
we
show
go.
everybody. Do you look at these? Tell me what you think. Rex, what is that?
Uh, what am I looking at? Oh, that was the black belly.
all right. So you've got one that looks like a freaking pterodactyl coming at you. I'm not gonna lie, they taste good. They're great in gumbo. Like there's been a lot of people win competitions of them. You got one that is whistling like crazy and literally looks like a pterodactyl coming at you. And then you got one that is not going to want to come to a call at all and is going to want to dodge your decoys. And if you get a shot on it, it's a pass by, and it's flying and looks like a mallard hen. So if you can't tell the difference in that pterodactyl and that mottled duck, we got problems. And that's what I told the waterfowl study leader. Yet he never would accept the fact that maybe we can hunt these ducks. Richard K. Yancey established the fulvus here, and by doing that, the blackbellies are here. I mean, why couldn't we hunt them all these years? Why did they shut down Phil's
Hmm.
program? I don't
Hmm.
understand. I don't understand why they keep shutting down all these programs and not talking about any of it. Let's just ignore it all.
It's almost like you wanted, less waterfowl hunters in the state of Louisiana. It seems like that.
We've lost 130, roughly 130,000 hunters in the state of Louisiana, and no one is screaming at the top of their lungs,
No,
knowing that
it's like everybody's happy and content. I mean, it's like, that's all good. It's okay.